This is a Hudiedao, is a double sword, which was used in specifically the port cities of southern China. They're also used in Wing Chun. This is also known as butterfly swords, and this one is made by Kris Cutlery. Was sold also like 18 or 19 years ago. They, as far as I know, they no longer produce it, and it is this type of short swords were known also as batjam do, or 8 cutting knives in the Cantonese dialect, also pronounced as bashandao in Mandarin. As far as we know, this type seems that it was used and introduced in the mid 19th century. It was a combination of a Chinese fighting knife blade with handles influenced by Western naval sabers, so it has a protection, you see, and also you have a part to entangle the weapon of your opponent. So it's a Kris Cutlery, and the blade is very well made. I will show it to you, and is a high carbon blade, very sharp, and you can see it here. I'm going to do a cut. You need to be careful because I have 2 sharp swords in my hand. You see, it cuts very well. Although it's a short sword, at a short distance, cutting power of it is really good and amazing. Sword formed with these extremely sharp swords is quite a challenge, especially if you do it the way I do. So be very careful, because you're playing at a short distance, and it is a different thing to. I mean, it's already difficult to do with a sharp katana, but to do with these two Hudiedao, which are sharp, is really a challenge. The blades, as you can see, this one Kris Cutlery did a very good job, because the original blades and antique blades come in several types. The most common types among antique ones, they have long, thick, but narrow blades, as this is the case with Kris Cutlery, with a subtle back level and a sharp tip. We have also, as you see among Wing Chun practitioners, another type which has a shorter blade, or wider and shorter blade, and which is thin or thinner, with somehow clipped tips. This is a type of sword that is most popular, as I mentioned, among Wing Chun practitioners and martial artists of today. And several other types exist, but the ones which is produced by Kris Cutlery is actually more, closer to antique types, older types, which had a sturdier blade, which were meant to deliver devastating thrusts and also cuts. So the heavy narrow blades, as this type, is capable of delivering heavy cuts, as you could see in this, deep thrusts, and it's a really lethal weapons. Deadly weapons, you should really not underestimate it. If you deal with a sharp one, you see what you're dealing with, and also antique ones, also very sturdy blades. And I really need to say that this Kris Cutlery did a good job. The scabbard is made of leather, and as you can see, I've seen many of them also with the scabbard, and the scabbard of most of them are made of leather, like this one. You see, there are 2 swords which go into the same scabbards, and as you saw in the beginning, when you put them together, you first think there is only one short sword, which is not the case here. Right? It seems that the older ones, like this one with the longer blade, were used much more by militias, right? And later examples with the wider blades by martial artists. You see, I do the cut here in slow motion, so you can take a look at that again. Right. So, and then the second cut, just to see how well it cuts. Next time I'm going to do more cutting. Back then I didn't have enough tatami or omote, so, and I had different weapons to test, but next time I go there, I'm going to do more tests with this Kris Cutlery swords. Um, so, as I said to you, there are also antique examples with that, and as I mentioned it to you before, we have the question is if these swords were, as I said to you, the longer versions were used by militias and also sometimes with local militia and the military, local military, who were allowed back then to kill, right, in some circumstances. And the wider, shorter blades were used most likely by martial artists. The name Hudiedao or Bazandao, like this one, this sword, does not turn up or appear in military texts. Many units back then were listed and that they used Xuandao. Right? Here I'm going to show you again another, the cuts again. Right, this cut is again in slow motion, slower, so you can take a look at the mechanics of the blade on the target. As I said, so there were back then it was many units were listed that they use Shuangdao, but not there is no mention which means actually anything single edged, but no mention of this sword. You can find it in military texts. This one I can show it to you so you can see how Kris Cutlery did it. The handle is made of wood, and also you see, and the protection, the hand guard is also made of steel. And it's blued with two different colors. One is more brownish, one is more bluish. And then you see that the Kris Cutlery mark on it, so I can put it back also in the scabbard. Sword by Kris Cutlery. I'm really amazed how Kris Cutlery swords cut. They're a dream for cutting, really. I need to stress that. So yeah, I'm using this now in Normandy. In the video before, I was using it in Provence. So here is in Normandy, and so you can take a look at that. It's just here is slippery because it was raining actually a bit, and it's wet ground, so I needed to be extremely careful with such sharp, double sharp swords. You need to be extremely careful. Right? The antique ones you can find. I've seen many with a bronze hand protection and hand guard. These ones are made of steel, but as I said, it does a very good job. And make sure that you do your techniques correctly. You need to be extremely careful not to hit your arm, because Wing Chun happens in close quarters. With this type of weapons, like the Wing Chun techniques, it's grappling range. You strike at trapping and grappling range. So you need to be very careful. Another cut here, it doesn't completely go through, it was a slight cut, but I just want to show you on hard grain tatami omote. Nevertheless, look, it is amazing. Please take a look at that again. You see? Thank you for visiting our channel, and please subscribe to our channel, and see you soon.